everyone, back to another episode of Attack on TCG. Bancroft here. As you saw by the profile picture, I am running the Android 21 from Set 8. I absolutely love this deck. It is an amazing deck. It's also a deck where you have to stall, and since everyone's used to me playing Prison, it works out anyways. So, let's just get into the deck real quick. Android 21 has an auto which it plays as soon as this leader goes into the leader slot, which it immediately plays the Android 21 scheme card, which is a pretty nice card. It pretty much, if you're familiar with Magic, it gives Summoning Sickness to all battle cards that are played, at least the first battle card that's played on your opponent's side of the field. But with this same field card, you can't play any black battle cards or they're placed into your owner's drop area. Now, you could get technical and you could play like the food that draws 2 cards because the auto is still trigger, if I'm correct, but I don't play that card, so I'm not going to worry about that. And whenever your opponent starts their their main phase, they get 2 clone tokens of power at 10,000, and that's it. They're just straight up tokens. It can't be comboed with, but you use those tokens for your leader and for some other cards. But for your leader, you choose 1 token on your opponent's battle area, you remove it from the game, you draw 1 card, then if you want, you can choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards of energy cost of 1 or less, and send it back to their hand. Now, typically, depending on what you're playing against, you might not want to do that. A lot of 1-drops is that your search cards, or they allow your opponent to do some pretty cool stuff later on the road, so I typically sometimes don't worry about it, depends on who I'm fighting. But the last part of this effect is amazing. At the beginning of your opponent's main phase, you can choose up to 1 of your blue-green multicolored cards in your energy and switch it to active mode. So, with this case, you're able to charge turn 1 a multicolored card, use this effect, then your opponent's turn, it just re-stands back up, which is amazing. When your life is 4 or less, you may draw 2 cards to flip this card over, and once that happens, your leader is awakened. The only difference between this side and the other side is just the 5,000 boost to power. She literally has the same activate main where you choose 1 token in your opponent's battle area, remove it from game, draw 1 card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost of 1, and return it to the owner's hand. Then start your opponent's main phase, switch your multicolored card to active again. So it's practically the same thing, it just relies on using that token. Let's get into the deck itself. I'm going to start with just the standard blue-green energy, Android 17, mainly because this is the card you want to charge your very first turn. Or you can charge one of the other blue-green cards. As long as you charge a blue-green card, that's all that matters, because once you have a blue-green in your energy slot, you can play this card in your energy and active. It's a nice little free multicolored energy. If you choose to play it naturally, you can, once per turn, choose one of your opponent's combos during their combo step and place that card at the bottom of the owner's deck and then engage the skill for the duration of the game. So it's kind of like one of the Broly cards from set 7, which is cool, but it's a better for energy in my opinion. If you want to play it, you can. I like it for the energy way more though. I play 3 of the Android 18. The 1-drop, you look up top 5 cards, pull 1 blue or green Android card among them, add it to your hand, which is pretty nice. But her auto is even better. When you play this card, activate the skill at the end of your turn, you can choose up to 1 of your blue-green multicolored energy cards, return it to your hand. If you do, choose up to 1 card in your hand and place it into your energy mode, in rest mode. Does not really matter which one you do. So if you needed to, you could pull back an Android 17 back to your hand. That way, on next turn, you could charge it for energy. Or my favorite thing is like the big 8-drop Android 21. I do play the secret rare, so there's nice cards that I can put into my energy spot, know that they're safe, and then later on the road, play Android 18, get those cards back to my hand so that way I can bring it out the next turn. Now granted, by doing that, my opponent's aware of what I'm about to play, but it is what it is. I do play 2 of the 4-drop 21s. She is a blocker 10,000, but I play her also kind of for the same reason for energy ramp. Look up the top 7 cards of my deck, choose up to 1 card among them, place into my energy and rest mode, shuffle my deck, then I can choose up to 1 of my opponent's battle cards, KO it. Unfortunately, it does not get past barrier, but in case someone has something pretty heavy on their field that you just want to knock out, it's a nice card to do that with. Once you play this battle card, you cannot play battle cards between 30,000 and 35,000 for duration of turn, which is fine. Game, which is fine because nothing in my deck is 30,000 or 35,000 or anywhere between there because there's no battle cards in between that. Yeah, she's just a nice little energy ramp card, which is pretty nice. Or blocker. Now, for my opponent's clones, Once it gets to a certain point where they kind of rack up, I play 2 Cells and 2 Friezas. Frieza takes only 2 clones to play, where Cell takes 3 clones. They're both 15,000 in power, but the difference is that when you play Frieza, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and cost 3 or less, return it to your hand. Cell is just a crit. Both very nice. Cell is also an Android card. He would work for 18 to pull, which is pretty nice, where Frieza isn't. So, just little nice kind of buffer cards to get past the energy, get past the summoning sickness is what I'm trying to think of. And then I can play bigger cards later using my energy. Or I can always just play the 2-drop Android 16. I do have the nicer one. The 2-drop 16, which is kind of like an objection, but he's also a battle card, which he could combo it later. In my experience, he gets wiped pretty quick though, but it's okay. But with him, you take the top card of your deck, place it into your energy in rest mode, and there you go. So kind of like an objection. And speaking of which, I do play 2 objections as well, which you all know what that is. You just play it, and you choose 1 card from your hand, put it into your energy. But you can play the 16 first, then go into clone tokens, or play the 18 or something like that, go into clone token. It's just try to work around the field card, because it does affect you as well. Now, getting to late game, I like to have the 3-drop 21 on the field. I do play 3 of them. At the end of your opponent's turn, they have to play 2 clone tokens, so it gives you a little extra clone tokens to mess with. But her activate main is where it's at. Choose 1 clone token on your opponent's side of the field, and you have 1 of 2 effects you could choose. I typically choose the first one, unless I have certain battle cards on the field. But the first one is choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Just a nice way of knocking out something that's a threat. But her secondary effect, choose your leader or 1 of your battle cards, and it gets plus 10 as a power and crit for the duration of turn. Now that works well if you play the 8-drop, because the 8-drop has triple attack. Also, when you play the 8-drop, it practically wipes your opponent's field. It removes all cards in your opponent's energy and battle cards, ignoring barrier, negates their skills, and return them to the owner's deck, and then they have to shuffle their deck afterwards. So if you're playing against a deck that's monocolored, they're going to scoop probably against you. But if you're playing against someone who's multicolored, most of their energies will probably be single colored. They'll probably have a few multicolors in there. Most of their battle cards might be also single colored. They may have a few multicolors out there, but regardless, this probably moves at least 50% of your opponent's board. But you combine that with a 3-drop 21, so now she's a 35 crit triple attack. And when you swing with her, I do play 2 of the Android 20 Bio Creator. This is a great card to combo with. He's 1 cost to combo with 5,000, but when you combo him with a green Android card, it gives it an extra 5,000 boost of power and double strike for the duration of turn. So if they choose to not negate, or if they can't negate on that first attack, then she is swinging with triple attack, 45,000 if I'm correct. I did the math right. First attack with double strike crit. And then her additional 2 more attacks are just double strike crit. So, pretty amazing. If for some reason they survive that, you can always just play Secret Rare against them. Which on your turn, if you rival it, of course, on your turn, he gets double strike, crit, and triple attack for the duration of turn. But I typically like to play this card on my opponent's turn, because what he does is that he pops a card, KOs a card, ignoring barrier, and then I get to take the top 2 cards of my deck and place them to my energy, so it helps me ramp my energy up to the 8 play. So whatever works best for you in the long run, if you can manage to get him out to take your opponent out pretty quickly, it's not a bad card to do. If you're trying to do for energy ramp, not a bad card to do either. But I only obviously play 1 of those. Now, if I've worked this hard and get my opponent down to 1 life, and they manage to survive that, as long as I have the energy, all I gotta do is play this 21, a Bad Omen. You just activate main, 2 blue, 2 green, remove energy from your field, choose 1 of your cards, choose 1 card in your energy, place it into your drop area. When you play this card, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and up to 1 card in your opponent's life, and place them in the drop area. So your opponent's at 1 life. For example, if you're going up against like the new Pan or the baby deck, where they kind of like constantly take their own life away, if they get down to 1 life on their own turn because of that, and you survive, all you gotta do is activate main phase, game over. Only do play 1 of those because it's such a situational thing in my opinion, but I don't think it's a bad choice. Obviously, we play the 4 super combos. I choose Ginyu just because he's from this set. Just kind of want to feature a lot of the cards from this set. Now, cards that aren't part of the set, it wouldn't be a ramp deck. Wouldn't have a lot of good stuff to go up against on your turn, especially with the arrival factor. If I didn't play Zeno button, I only play 2 of them. I may bump it up to 3 after a couple of play testing, but I felt like 2 was pretty solid because you do draw a lot in this deck. And speaking of drawing a lot, that's why I only play 3 of the Senzu Beans for 1 energy plus 5,000 per turn, and resend 2 of your energies to active. So now to help control my opponent's side of the field, I do play 3 of the Vegeta the Cruel. So it's a counterplay. It only costs 2 energy as long as I have a multicolor energy, which I do. And when you play this card during your opponent's turn, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 4 or less, KO it. Then your opponent has to choose 1 card in their hand and warp it. So it's not a bad counterplay card. It's not a bad reduce my opponent's hand size. I do only play 2 absolute release balls, just because you have to have 4 life for this card, and sometimes, depending on who you're playing against, you may not get to 4 life for a while. Sometimes you'll get to it pretty quick. Also, if you get to it pretty quick, most of the time your opponent's playing cards that are bigger than 3 energy costs. That's why I kind of will play 2 of these. But what it does, though, is that if your opponent's playing a battle card that energy costs 3 or less, you return the card to their hand, and then choose up to 1 blue energy and switch it to active. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of like, the whole lease factor. It just resands 1 of your energy if it's blue. Also, with this card, as long as you have a multicolored energy card and your life's 4 or less, you could just play this card by taking a life. So if you tap yourself out, and for some reason you couldn't pull off the leader's token effect to resend 1 of your multicolored energies, you can always just take a life to play this card and then just restand 1 of your blue energies to give you that extra energy, which is pretty nice. I also play 4 Dimension Magics. Basic negate that restands 2 life, and if I happen to have Sparking, which I typically don't really early on in this deck, but if I need to, I can get the 5 cards in my drop area, do this for Sparking, take a life to restand 2 energy. Now, in my opinion, Mafuba is important. I play a couple people who don't use Mafuba. I think it's a beautiful card still, especially in a blue ramp deck. That's just my cup of tea. It stops battle cards from hitting you, especially if they have triple strike, double strike. Triple attack or double attack. Double attack, that's what it's called. But yeah, that's my Android 21 deck. It's pretty simple. There are a lot more cards I would like to add to this deck and kind of adjust with, especially from the Draft Box 4. But yeah, like the Piccolos are pretty nice to add to this deck, or even the Gokus, the 4-drop Gokus are nice to add to this deck. They help get rid of cards on your opponent's side of the field to keep you alive longer. I just don't have $500 to drop for 2 sets. Sorry, $700 to drop for 2 sets as of current market price.
Bullshit.
But yeah, that's my 21 deck. If you don't incorporate the Draft Box 4, if you guys have any comments that help me out, like, hey, do this, tweak this, I would appreciate that. Also, if you want us to make a certain deck, put it in the comments down below. I'll make anything. I'm the one who made a Shenron Pilaf deck, which I thought was amazing back in set 5. Yep. So yeah, just put in the comments, let us know. And like always, like and subscribe.
Love out.